Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 16th episode of In the Corners with Reese Savoy and Matt Good. We are the UVic hockey broadcast team. It's a wonderful Wednesday, but the more interesting aspect of this episode is not going to be just a simple, cover of what the interesting things that have come out of the BCIHL. It's not going to be that. It's actually going to be interviews. We got two fantastic individuals who play in the BCIHL to break down some stuff about their life, stuff about the game, stuff about their past in hockey, and more on that will be Matt, because he was the guy who executed the interviews. Now, I just want to say I ran into some technical difficulties combined with some random emergencies, so I was unable to.
Is everybody okay?
Everybody's good. Everybody's
Technical
alive.
difficulties with random emergencies. That's another name for our album, maybe.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you know what? There you go. It could just be noises and stress sounds, and
Well, in the corners, there's a lot of it's a lot of stress down there.
That's true
for the puck. True.
Yeah, that's the tough areas, right? So, but before we get into it, Matt, how are you? And give us a quick little breakdown of what the people can look forward to seeing in these interviews.
Well, right on. Well, we got two all-stars from the league on the show here today.
Yes,
no
sir.
doubt. That players that people talk about around the BCIHL at the showcase. The second interview we did is with the goaltender Matthew Enns from the Logan Lake Miners. Now at the showcase, he put on a showcase. He put on a show and people were talking about him. And as you recall, in a certain episode of In the Corners, he's a fantasy goaltender of yours truly.
Right. Yes, that's right.
So I got to stay tuned for that one. And then, of course, we have the all-star forward from the Vikes, Riley Braun, well known around the island here.
Yep.
Really impressive people, these guys. And really happy they got to come by for a visit.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
thanks for being there, guys.
Right. Oh, a huge thanks to them. One of the most electrifying players in the BCIHL right now, very young player, freshman Riley Braun, alongside Logan Spears, his VIJHL line mate and current line mate, along with Connor Nolan, who have just been taking the league by storm. Finally, some UVic players cracking that top 10 of scoring. You'll love to see that. Number 8 for Braun, number 10 for Spears, and number 4 for Connor Nolan. So you love to see it. It's definitely a breath of fresh air since last year. No disrespect to last year's team, but just come on. It's a freshman. They come in and they are just your offensive producers. Just makes you super hopeful for the future of this Vikes team.
Well, yeah, and we're getting set for a big finish for the regular season of BCIHL. Riley Braun, when the interview comes up,
sneeze, bless me,
sneeze,
yep,
mic drop.
Yeah,
Riley Braun, he talks about some of the keys he views to going up against SFU. So that's a little teaser for the interview. And another thing was when he talks about the Panthers championship run and the championship team from last year, is a very moving way he talks about his teammates. So you got to stand by and listen for that one. Riley Braun, 22 points this season, like you said.
Yep.
He could whip it around side to side.
Oh, yeah. He's always snapping it around. He
gives some good advice to us in the interview here of how to cycle it in the corners with Spears.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know what? I think all of us can take that and run with it because this is a guy who's done nothing but prove it. So yeah, we obviously got the Matthew Enns interview as you covered. So that'll be very exciting to hear a little bit about that team and what their trajectory is, what their plan is for the future. But also, if you guys stay tuned, after the interviews, we got a little bit of a pack opening with some hockey cards, a little breakdown of each player. And you know what? I'll add something to this right now, right off the top. And that's going to be, I'll try to think of a player in the BCIHL that is similar to the playing style of the player that you pull in that pack. Right. So it's going to be exciting times. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for the end of the episode for that. But before we get into that, let's go over a little bit of what the Vikes have for the schedule coming up. So what's it looking like, man?
The rest of the way, 3 against Logan Lake, 3 against SFU, one more against the Lakers, and don't forget those games against the Ducks.
Yep.
Those Oregon Ducks, okay?
You're going to want to tune in for those.
Lots of action left to go here, but only 4 or so home games until playoff time.
Yep.
So if you're feeling edgy and intense, it's because that's how things are getting.
That's what's going down.
That's what's happening. 3 against SFU, including a Monday showdown. Reese.
Yep.
That Monday game, it's like a 2 PM game. We're gonna have to wake up the librarian, grab the keys, sneak through the campus, go down to the hockey rink for a double, and check it out. Hopefully we can go to that. That would be great.
Hopefully we can. That'll definitely be an action-packed game. Yeah, but lots of good content coming in these interviews, so stay tuned. You're going to want to pay attention to them. Going to be a very good time. Matt, obviously the interviewer, I wasn't there with him, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll just let this transition into that, and hope you enjoyed the interview with who are we going first? We're going to go Ends first. We're going to go Braun first. Which one we play?
Riley Braun.
We'll do Riley Braun. So, ladies and gentlemen, Vikes player, Vikes forward, Riley Braun. Here we go.
Hello out there, folks. Hey, everybody in the corners, fans, BCIHL people. Welcome to a special segment. Today, we have a very special guest on the show. You may know him, number 88 from the Vikes, captain of the reigning VI JHL champs, the Panthers. Folks, please put your hands in the air for number 88 from the Vikes, Riley Braun. How you doing, Riley?
Pretty good, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Nice to see you, and excited to get to know you a bit and hear about you. What are you up to these days in Victoria?
Not too much right now. I'm taking 3 classes right now at UVic, in playing hockey, obviously, and yeah, not too much right now. I'm heading down to dental school in August, so kind of preparing for that a little bit, but yeah, kind of enjoying a little bit of a slower paced year before it kind of ramps up, obviously, over the next year. So,
do you mean a slower paced as far as fewer games or classes or in general?
Yeah. As far as classes, like this is definitely my last year of kind of competitive hockey, but I mean, as far as like having a bit more free time, having a bit less academic load, that kind of thing, being able to focus a bit more on hockey and friends and that kind of stuff.
So are you looking forward to your move you're going to go to dental school? Is that right?
Yeah. So, moving to Arizona to go to dental school, and yeah, I definitely am. I'm born and raised in Victoria, so kind of haven't lived anywhere else in my life. So I'm pretty excited to live somewhere else and experience a different area of living for sure.
Sounds good. You pack your rollerblades, head down there. Yeah. You could always move to Saskatchewan. They have a great dental school program, I'm sure.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, we'll be missing you around here, but we got lots to talk about with this Vikes season. Mm-hmm. Why don't we touch a little bit on the Vikes? Maybe, if you don't mind, I'm interested about the Panthers a little bit, and then just some fire questions at the end. Sound good to you?
Good. Sounds good.
So how did you end up getting recruited to play for the Vikes, and how did you make that decision?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been at UVic for the past 4 years prior to this one. I've been playing junior hockey while I was going to school. The Panthers have always been like really, really school centric and like academically focused. So there was actually a lot of guys, and still are a lot of guys in the Panthers that go to UVic. So I wasn't really sure if I was going to come back and do school or go to dental school this year. But I actually ended up not getting into UBC for dental school. And Al, our head coach, had reached out to me throughout the year, and he'd kind of been texting me and like let me know like what he thought of the games and stuff like that. And he wanted to commit to me. I believe it was around January or February of last year during the season. And at that point, I wasn't sure if I was going to be at UVic or not next year, but I just said, like, if I'm not at dental school, I'll come back and play, and I need a few more prerequisite classes anyways. So
right.
So then he announced it like on the Instagram and stuff like that. And then when I found out I wasn't going to be attending dental school, then I gave him kind of the go ahead that I was going to be playing hockey here next year.
Well, right on. Anybody has a root canal to look you up? I had my first root canal this year.
Oh yeah, that's always
Well, now
pleasant.
now all you got is a lot of hockey friends, so you can fix everybody up, right? Isn't that what you're
Exactly.
doing?
Yeah, exactly.
So you grew. You mentioned you born and raised in Victoria.
Mm.
When you were younger, who were some of the biggest influences in your hockey life?
I think for sure my dad has got to be the biggest one. He's always coached me when I was growing up. He didn't start playing hockey till he was around 20, but I mean, he can still move pretty well for someone who started the game that late. So yeah, I've always playing road hockey with him coaching me on all my teams growing up. I think a lot of coaches along the way too many to name, but um, yeah, I think watching the Panthers too. Like I grew up playing minor hockey out on the peninsula, so I would be going to Panthers games every Friday nights. And that was kind of the big leagues to me at the time. So that was kind of cool to watch that and kind of idolize those players a bit. So I think definitely like the local junior B team definitely was a big influence on me.
Who were some of your favorite Panthers players from when you were a kid? Do you remember?
Yeah, there's one guy who I know really well. Actually, he actually coached us for 2 years, like when I was playing, which is kind of cool. His name is Jackson Scarrett. He's I
Cool.
believe he's a police officer. I forget. I think he's at Vic PD. But anyways, yeah, he was one of my favorite players for sure growing up. Watching. I think I was around like maybe 10 or 11 when he was playing. But yeah, he was really fun to watch. Scrappy guy.
That's cool. I loved the when I was 10 years old. The first game I went to that was like the big time was the Brandon Wheat Kings,
Oh yeah.
and I still remember Wade Redden was on defense. I'm
Oh yeah.
37, so I'm a bit old. I'm quite a bit older than you, but it's funny
Yeah.
how we remember those first players, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of that, do you remember meeting Logan Spears?
Oh man, this that we our first year together was when we were 4. So that
Yeah.
was I don't know if I remember meeting him, but yeah, we've played on the same team, I believe every single year since we were 4 until obviously this year. So yeah, definitely a lot of time playing with him, which has definitely been a blast. He's one of my closest buddies. So um yeah, it's definitely definitely been a blast being able to play with him and a lot of other guys who grew up on the peninsula, grew up playing with, and then ended up playing on the Panthers too, like at least 4 or 5 guys. So it was kind of neat to have that tight knit community growing up all the way through the ages.
What do you think that Logan is really good at that makes him an excellent player? Is there a skill that stands out?
I think um, he's a really smart player, and not just with the puck. I think without the puck, um, he moves well. He gets open for the puck. He communicates well with the puck or without the puck as well. Like telling me whether like what's open or to go off the wall or bump it to the middle. I think he's really good defensively on the back check. I know that like I barely play center and I really prefer winger because it's a lot. It's nice when you're in the defensive zone to just get to worry about the center, or sorry, just get to worry about the defenseman.
Yeah.
Whereas like Logan's doing a lot more skating defensively. So I think he's really good on the defensive side of the puck. Um, but yeah, obviously he's really, really fast. So he's able
Yeah.
to push those defensemen back and give me and Connor Nolan a bit more space to work with. So that's definitely effective for sure.
Yeah. I've enjoyed watching you on that top line this year a lot. I'm thinking about Logan, like it's almost like it's kind of like he's not the same as Crosby, but it reminds me of his body is always between the puck and the other guy.
Yeah.
Like the puck is like it's like a keep away. He's always keeping it away.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch more of you guys because you have a shifty line there.
Yeah.
How is that going for you this year with Connor as well? Did you know Connor before this season?
I didn't know him at all actually. I met him during training camp. And yeah, I was like because Logan and I were playing together at the start of the year on a line with our old teammate Kyle Brown. He was on the Panthers
Yeah.
as well last year, and we traded for him halfway through the season. And I grew up playing against Kyle, so I know him pretty well. So we were on a line with Kyle for a while, and then Kyle ended up injuring his shoulder, and he decided to. Well, he wasn't going to be able to rehab in time to come back this season anyway, so season was ended. So then I remember just hoping that Connor was going to get put on our line. And then eventually we did get put together and I remember saying to them at the practice, like, we need to take this opportunity and do well, because if we're able to perform with this line, we can stick together this year and be a lot of fun. So yeah, it's definitely been fun getting to know him. He's a great hockey player, a great guy too. So it's definitely been a
Cool.
great addition to our guy, and he's obviously a very skilled player. Put up tons of points in the SJ. So yeah, been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you guys are in the top 10, all three of you in the league in scoring. Do you think I always wondered this, is there a different culture or a different style of play from players that come from Alberta or the SJ or, DeGo was in Ontario for a while, right?
Hmm.
Do you think there's different nuances to the styles across the different regions?
Maybe I'm not. Yeah, I think if you were to generalize, I guess you'd say like players from Saskatchewan and maybe Manitoba would be a bit more like physical and rugged and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. A lot of players don't fit those molds. Like Connor is a really skilled player, but I mean, he would be the first to admit that he's probably not the guy going around like throwing out monster body checks. But he definitely like he impacts the game in a lot of other ways. He's super slick skater. Moves the puck really well, super smart with his ice, just like Logan, especially at the Ian Stewart too, because it's a smaller rink. You really gotta
Yeah.
like make the most of your ice and kind of hit top speed at the right time. So I think he's really good at kind of controlling his speed, and he's gotten a lot of breakaways this year just from like timing his route and timing when he's gonna flash behind the D for a pass and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, you guys on the Vikes, you took the Mariners to overtime, then you beat the Mariners the last game. Does
mhm.
that large ice suit the Vikes a bit better than the small ice, or how does that compare for the
Mhm.
team? Do you think?
It's definitely a noticeable difference. Like, as a like the way it affects me is in the at home, it's definitely a lot easier to get in on the forward check because the other defensemen aren't really used to the kind of the way the puck will bounce off the boards just because it's a smaller rink. And I kind of take 3 or 4 strides and I'm already in on the forward check. But I mean, it kind of goes both ways because especially the Nanaimo Ice Center has a massive area behind the net, like bigger than a normal rink. So for our line, it's really effective because we love to play like along the boards and kind of behind the net
Yeah,
and look for that quick pass out front. So I think like all three of us really like playing in Nanaimo just because there's so much room behind the net and we're um able to kind of like if we're able to protect the puck and get a step, we're kind of gone around the net. So I know it's one thing the coaches have been stressing, especially when we play there, is kind of get the puck behind the net and move it behind the net, because there's a lot of space open there. But yeah, I think our defensemen maybe like it a bit more because they have a bit more time when they go back to get the puck and break out, and they aren't getting hammered every single time. So yeah, I think it's definitely just like a different game, like in different like nuances to it.
I would just yeah, I'm interested about that. Hopefully, we could do it in the corners road trip.
Yeah,
See all you guys. Not embarrass you too much though. Keep it
yeah,
cool.
the classy.
Well, the exactly always the Vikes are looking for a championship, no doubt, and you were just on a championship team.
Mhm.
Before, like, what characteristics of the championship team from last year have stuck with you? You know,
Yeah.
uh, that you that come to mind that you think about that you draw upon from the Panthers
Yeah.
championship.
I think that the main thing is just like it's not about I mean, to a certain point it is about X's and O's, but I mean at the end of the day it's kind of about I think it's about who has the will to win first of all, and then I think more times than not the team that's closer and the team that's tighter as a team is going to win. Like our team was so um like everyone was friends with everybody on our team, and even more so I'm not sure if you heard like the news last year, but one of our teammates was killed in a car crash in January on the way
Mm-hmm.
to practice. And like that really brought us together as a team. And I like that was the closest group I've ever been on. And I think when you're really close with everyone on the team, like you, you'd like do anything to help the person next to you, no matter who it is. And I think that characteristic is like the most important thing in my mind for championship teams. And I don't know. I think that I see a lot of that with this Vikes team too. Is like everyone's really close. We do a lot of things together, and like everyone's friends with everybody. We don't really have any cancers on the team. Whereas teams have been on the past, there's been kind of groups and cliques and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of characteristics that carry over to this Vikes team that guys are kind of in it together, and we'll do anything for the next guy.
Uh, when the Panthers were going through that experience of losing your friend,
Mm.
was the season ever in question for you? How did that? Um, how were you able to handle that as a young person?
Yeah, I think for me, like I was being the captain, I kind of felt a little bit of like responsible for like helping my teammates through it a bit, especially the younger guys. Like we had 16, 17, 18-year-olds on the team. So I felt like I was a bit more like obviously no one's equipped to handle it, but I was like a bit more equipped to be able to help people my teammates. Um I think I remember the first like we got together the night after at the rink, and I think the first thing that all of us said was we're gonna win a championship for Grants. Because like that's what he always talked about, winning a championship. Like he was such a competitor. All he cared about was winning. He didn't care if he hurt feelings along the way or opposing players, or if he rubbed opposing players the wrong way. All he cared about was winning. So I think that all of us were pretty. I think our very first like we actually so it happened on Monday nights, and we were supposed to play in West Shore Wednesday, and we were actually determined to play that game, and our team wanted to play that game, but West Shore actually, because West Shore, there's a lot of players because Grant's from Souk, so West Shore, he knows a lot of the guys on West Shore.
Yeah.
The West Shore decided to play the game, which is fine, like we totally understood, but that just shows like how determined our group was to like honor his legacy by winning a championship. Like we were ready to play for him like 2 days after it happened. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so like we were ready to go. So then that game was canceled on the Wednesday immediately following, and then on the Friday we had we had like a 30-minute memorial ceremony kind of before our game against Victoria, which was really really difficult, but yeah, it was pretty special though.
Hmm. Well, you guys had the big hearts on your team on the Panthers, and you were the champs.
Yeah.
That was amazing. So I'm sure there's so many different things in hockey that you can take to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I obviously love the skill that all the players bring, and like the tough game, the gamesmanship, and like the saves, all the factors about a hockey game.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the allusions to life too.
Yeah.
Um, that you were talking about. Like, do you guys ever hang out nowadays? Like people from the team? Have you been hanging out this year a bit?
Yeah, I definitely see guys from the team like fairly often. My brother, so we actually started a tradition after that happened where like almost every Friday night, so our games are Friday nights at home, and almost every Friday night that we didn't have a game the next day, we would the whole team would come to my house, and we would all spend time together, hang out, play pool, play darts, stuff like that. And my brother's kind of continued that tradition with the team this year, so that's been kind of cool. I get home from a Vikes game and go up and see the guys, so that's
Oh,
been
cool.
every once in a while. I think it's 3 or 4 times it's happened this year, so it's nice to see that tradition carried on for sure. But yeah, I mean, I obviously see Logan, but I'm still really close with a lot of guys who are on the team.
All right, on. We got a shout out to the Panthers, no doubt. Would you your jersey is hung up there? Did that happen this year? Was there a ceremony?
Yeah, it happens kind of near the start of this year. Pete told me, like the owner, Pete Zabriskie told me that he was gonna retire it. I think he said that he told me in the summer that he was gonna retire it. And then it was just about finding a date that didn't clash with any Vikes practices or games. Well, actually, I think it did clash with the exhibition game,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, but I think it was against like the Powell River Regals like men's team, so this wasn't like it was a season game or anything. So yeah, I just picked like the best date that worked for me, and then Logan came out as well as
Oh,
and then
cool.
also a few of because I've only played like on a line with Logan for last year. Before that, I was on a line with two other guys that were that aged out before me. So my guys who were my old line mates were there too, and we all like
Oh,
I said a
cool.
few words, and they all said a few words. So that was pretty special for sure.
That's cool. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Logan had his shirt on a stick trying to put it beside
Yeah,
yours.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, you come out of your career as the leading scorer all time in the league.
Yeah.
So congratulations. And well
Thank
done.
you.
And you got the championship there. I'm a
Yeah.
fan of the Panthers now. I went the first game I went the other day. I won a huge basket of flowers in the
Oh yeah.
50-50.
Yeah, from Braun, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I was
yeah.
like carrying around this huge thing of flowers.
That's funny. Yeah,
A good memory.
yeah.
Um, okay, that's cool. Well, we'll talk about the Vikes, or what should we talk about here? Now, this season, how is the BCIHL style compare now to
For
the
each team.
VI?
Yeah, it's interesting. It definitely like varies per team. Like, I think, I think overall, like, I think obviously like every player in the league is either I don't know, like kind of middle to top junior B guy or junior A guy, or there's a few WHL guys. So I think like the
Yeah,
median player is a lot better for sure. And like there's no one out there who's like I remember in junior B, you're out on the ice against some guys and you're able to kind of be like, oh, I can take advantage of this line. But there's not, I mean, maybe to certain points, but it's definitely not to the extent that was in junior B. So I think like the average player is a lot better in this league. And then I think there's a huge contrast in playing styles. Like playing VIU is completely different from playing SFU, which is kind of interesting. Like there wasn't that big contrast. Like VIU is obviously a very physical team, and they kind of want to intimidate you into not having the puck. Whereas, and sometimes it seems like they like are carrying it and they want to dump it in just so they can hit you. Like they're almost playing the long game a little bit. Whereas like SFU obviously has a lot of skill and they're trying to kind of pass it around you and use their skill to their advantage. So it's interesting how different teams have like such defined identities in the league.
yeah. There are you have you've gone 3-1-1 versus the Mariners, but now
Mhm.
you have some games to make up against SFU.
Yeah.
You have some of these games circled, and tell me about the matchup against SFU coming up.
Yeah, I think we play them Saturday and then the 2 weeks from then, I think. So 2.5 weeks from today. So yeah, we play them twice. I'm just looking at my calendar here. And then yeah,
There-
well, 3 more times the rest of the season. Yeah.
yeah,
I think I think that the matchup with them, obviously they're a really, really skilled team. And so I think the key to obviously we've had a few competitive games with them and then one or two not really competitive games with them. And I think the way to be competitive is just be disciplined in our systems. And also our goaltending needs to be really good against SFU. That's just any team in our league playing SFU, they're going to get their chances. They're
yeah,
just you can limit them as much as you want, but they're skilled enough that they're always going to get their chances. So if your goalie is able to save a few that he shouldn't, then you're in a good chance to beat them. So I think just special teams too. Like when we get a power play, we need to be able to convert that.
yeah. Nice. Well, what are some of your future goals for? You say you're going down to Arizona.
Mhm.
What other things are you looking for in the hockey side of things? Have any goals?
Um, I'm not sure. Yeah, like I've decided before the start of this year, like I won't really have time to play competitive hockey when I'm down there. But I think for me, like I mean, obviously to win a championship this year would be great. That's definitely a priority and a top goal. I think just to be able to play it as long as I can at a recreational level, just be able to stay healthy. Um, I don't know, be when I get back, being able to play beer league with some of my friends. I'm sure I'll play with Logan when I get back. So I think that'll be fun. Just continuing to play with friends and yeah, I that's like that's definitely if you talk to any hockey player who's been in it a long time, I think they definitely tell you that the social aspect of hockey is one of the best things about it. And yeah, I definitely think keeping that social aspect's got to be one of my top goals.
Yeah, right on. Do you have any interest in coaching or anything like that? Teaching a wrist shot or a cross ice pass?
Yeah, I think well definitely like when I have kids, I definitely want to coach my kids. Like I think that'd be pretty cool and pretty neat. But yeah, maybe depending on how much free time I have. I know Pete
Yeah,
Zabriskie, the Panthers owner, was asking if I was ever if or told me to let him know if I was ever interested in like doing some assistant coaching with the Panthers someday. So who knows if I have spare time, maybe I'll end up doing that. Um, yeah, I don't know. Head coaching might be a little bit stressful, but but it'd be fun to be like an assistant coach, maybe special teams, that kind of stuff. But
yeah. Do you have any favorite teams or other than hockey or sports?
um well, I like the San Francisco 49ers. They had a tough week or a tough day on Sunday, but Um, yeah, I don't know. I follow football pretty well, but yeah, mostly just hockey and football.
Yeah, right on. What about what are your favorite hobbies other than hockey? Are you
I
into
love
music or
being
movies or?
Yeah, I love being outside. So I really like
Yeah.
hiking. I've done a lot of hiking in the last few years. Yeah, hanging out with friends obviously is always um pretty fun. But yeah, movies are good too. I don't know, I just like anything outside. Like I really like skiing. It's a lot of fun. So I'm actually yeah, I'll make the drive up to Mount Washington maybe 2 or 3 times a year usually and do
Right
that in a
on.
day. Yeah.
You ever throw on a snowboard, or do they still have those skis that are really short, or is that out of style?
Oh, the trick skis. Yeah, I've seen a few people with them, but I've never tried those. I'm not really a jumper. I'm more of a like I like the steep and the powder and that kind of stuff. But I
Right.
have tried snowboarding. It's really fun, but it's like I don't know. I kept on like bailing and like I when you catch that front edge and you go over, it does not feel good. So I
And
don't know.
maybe
I've
I'll
tried skiing.
I'm gonna get those short skis and just a nice big cigar.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. My
Just
smoking days are over, but
yeah.
I haven't been on a ski hill in a long time. In Saskatchewan, there aren't many.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's been nice to get to hear a bit from you and your perspective, and we're having a good time watching the Vikes. You guys are definitely on a run, and you're a pretty deep team, and
Mm,
you're ready to make a run in the next month or two. What
yeah.
a couple more thoughts on the Vikes, and let me know if you want to say hi to anybody before we wrap this one
Right.
up.
Yeah, yeah. I think just as far as our run, just I don't know. I think we've stayed like relatively healthy, which is huge, and we have like a decent amount of guys in the team. So if a few guys go down, I know there'll be guys ready to fill in positions. So I think that's huge. And yeah, just having a lot of depth. There's so many guys on the team that that I've played against in the last few years. Like Jackson Egan, I played against him. He was on Kerry Park. Blake Bentham was on West Shore. Ryan Strange played
Right.
Coos. So I'm very familiar with a lot of these guys playing against them. So it's been really fun to get to know them playing together. And yeah, it's cool to see so many talented hockey players in the same team. You obviously have guys who've played in the AJ their whole careers. Knowles from the SJ, Danny who played in the WHL. So um yeah, a lot of pedigree, which is pretty neat to see.
Well, wishing you all the best down the stretch here, and
Yeah.
remember to take a hat down to Arizona for sure. But we'll see you
Yeah.
before then.
Yeah.
A few home games coming up as the Vikes make their run for the playoffs. Riley Braun, 9 goals, 13 assists, 22 points this year, all-time scoring leader VIJHL, and a captain of the champs from the Panthers. Really nice to meet you, Riley, and wish you the very best. I'll leave the last words to you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Okay, take care, man.
Okay. Have a good one.
See ya. All right, folks. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome to a special segment of In the Corners. You know this show, BCIHL, hot hockey playing. And folks, we got a special edition right here, an interview with the goaltender, the goaltender from my fantasy team for the BCIHL, from the Logan Lake Miners. Matthew Enns is here. How you doing, Matthew?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you reaching out, and I appreciate the fantasy pick as well. I think we talked a little bit when I was down in Victoria last couple weeks ago, and I made sure I wanted to come up and say thanks for that.
All right, on. Yeah, well, you're the closer for the Logan Lake Miners. You come in when the puck is at the doorstop and you close the door.
Yeah, oh, that's what I'm trying. I'm trying.
Well, so how you doing today, Matthew? And where are you?
I got a basement suite here in Kamloops. I'm just at home. I finished my school for the day and got my day wrapped up pretty early, which is nice. So now I'm just at home, about to make some dinner pretty soon, and yeah, just kind of relaxing.
Right on. How has the school been going? The school year been going for you over there in Kamloops?
It's good. I really enjoy the school. I'm going to TRU, and yeah, no, it's been a good, pretty easy transition. I lived out in Chase briefly back a couple of years ago, so I'm pretty familiar with Kamloops, and the guys on the team are making it easy, and no, it's been pretty smooth.
What ways did the teammates can you help each other out in your college years?
Well, since it's just an expansion team, we got a lot of guys from everywhere around like Canada, really, even a couple Russian players. So we're all kind of experiencing it firsthand, like on our own, right? So you just look for anyone to give you a hand, point you in the right direction of a class or whatever.
Right on. What
Yeah.
are you taking?
I'm in the BA, Business Administration program right now, doing my first year. So yeah.
Right on. Is this your first time in post-secondary schooling?
No, when I was playing junior hockey out in Dawson Creek, I did a couple courses, and then last year I did I did a full semester in Kelowna at the Okanagan College there. So kind of getting my way through it.
Yeah, that's right on.
Yeah.
How's the Kamloops area for getting to know people and living there?
No, it's really good. I mean, I've met a handful of people here that are actually pretty familiar with the Logan Lake team and whatnot, and that's been an easy conversation starter. And yeah, everyone's been very respectful and kind, and welcoming with open arms. It's been awesome.
Right on. How were you recruited by the miners and how did you make up your mind to go and play there?
It's a funny story. I was actually a year out of hockey for about a year and a half. I hadn't been playing, and yeah, and it was kind of my last ditch effort. I didn't really have any asks to go anywhere after my junior hockey or anything like that. And my last ditch effort, I texted a guy that I used to play hockey with if he knew of any teams looking for a goalie, and he pointed me in the direction of Mike Carlson, our coach here. I sent him a couple texts. We got back and forth through email and whatnot, and through that he told me that it'd be an expansion team in this BCIHL and what have you. And so I took the opportunity. I was gonna be going into my post-secondary schooling anyways, so I thought it'd be an awesome way to kind of knock two birds with one stone.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah,
So you grew up in Prince George, is that right?
I did. Yeah.
So what's it like growing up there, being a hockey player? And how'd you become a goalie?
Well, I'm the youngest of two, so I didn't really have much choice on being a goalie. My brother was a player, and he needed someone to shoot on. So
Right.
classic story of him and my uncle threw pads on me and put me in the net, and for some reason I loved it. I just got addicted to it. I love the goalies, like in the NHL growing up. I loved watching the goalies, specifically the colors, the masks, that type of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then living in Prince George, it's easy. It's hockey 9 months of the year, like if it's not on a frozen pond, it's out in the driveway when you're playing like that type of stuff or whatever.
Cool. Who were your favorite goalies when you were a kid?
I was a big Luongo guy. Luongo, yeah. I mimicked his green and blue pads from when he was in Vancouver, and yeah, he was my guy.
Right.
And then more modern, I'm a big Price guy too.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. We're taping this the day after the Bo Horvat trade. And that goes back to Luongo too, doesn't it, in some strange way?
I think so.
Or
I
for
don't know.
Snyder or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think they got them through a Schneider trade, and then somehow it returned to the Islanders.
How are you? Like, are you a Canucks fan?
I'm a closet Canucks fan. I
Yeah.
was a very big Canucks fan for a few years there, and then yeah, I don't know. I've slowed down on my hockey watching in the NHL. Like I just haven't really been watching a lot of hockey. But if I had to choose a team, it's the Canucks. Unfortunately.
What do you think of this league here that you're playing in, the BCIHL, compared to the NWJHL or some of these other leagues you've been in?
I love it. It's awesome. It's the fastest paced hockey I've played in my
Yeah.
career, and it's no, it's pretty cool. You got guys that have played a lot higher levels of hockey that are coming to do their schooling, and you got guys like on SFU like Nick Wicks, who are, they've had experience playing Division 1 in the States, and you get the line up against that. It's not always fun, but it is very cool, and it is a fun experience. Yeah.
What's one thing that you're liking about the minors experience, and what's one thing that's been a struggle that come to mind?
Well, the struggle, I mean, it's pretty obvious. We just haven't been able to get a win under our belt. And that comes with just growing pains. We're a first year program, and it's we're gonna have our bumps, and we're gonna have our times where we do well. And once we do well, it's gonna be that much more worth it because we've seen the dark times. And but yeah, no, I really enjoy the guys that we got on our team. We have a great group of guys. Like within the locker room, we all laugh, we all have fun. It's pretty easy to come to the rink.
Who are some of the unsung leaders on the team?
Well, we got a couple guys. I mean, unfortunately, we've kind of got the injury bug on our team, so we've had a lot of guys stepping up. Like we have Jaden Groomer. He's been one guy who's really stepped up his play in the last little while. And our defense has been kind of thin throughout the last couple of weeks with guys missing with injury and stuff. So really all of our defense have been huge.
Yeah. Schaefer and Havers, right? That's the pair.
Yes.
I really noticed them because they're not big guys, but they hang in there tough against those experienced teams.
Yeah, no, they're effective. They're awesome people to have in front of the net. Like when I'm out there and I see them, it makes me pretty comfortable.
Nice. So I'm looking at your career here. It looks like you played the most with Dawson Creek Junior Canucks. Do you have a favorite hockey memory from those years or a favorite season?
Well, probably my favorite memory was just my first day in Dawson Creek. Yeah, I got traded from Chase in the KIJHL, and I went there, and I remember it was like January 6th. I got off a 10-12-seater plane in the middle of a snowstorm, and it was just like a quick hello to minus 35, 40-degree weather. And we went straight from the plane to the game. And yeah, it was awesome. All the guys were just so happy to have me. We got a 6-0 win. And then, yeah, we just had an awesome bus ride back.
Sweet.
So, yeah, it was a great impression right off the start. So that was probably my first good memory.
Where is Chase, by the way? I can't think of it right in the moment.
Chase is probably like 45 kilometers just outside of Kamloops towards Salmon Arm.
Okay, I can kind of picture it as in a valley. I mean, all the towns are in a valley
Yeah.
there, but it's kind of okay. I think
Yeah.
I can picture it.
It's tucked off the side of the highway. You just take a turn off the highway and you're right in there. It's easy to miss. It's a small one.
Yeah. So your first day with Dawson Creek, and then you had a couple playoff runs, right? You won a couple rounds a few times.
Yeah, in Dawson Creek, we won. We never got to the big show, but we got through a couple rounds in playoffs, and yeah, we had a couple good teams throughout the years. I just couldn't do it, unfortunately.
You ever stay in touch with friends from those teams?
Yeah, all the time.
Really?
Yeah. I still got a lot of my best friends are guys that I played in Dawson Creek with, and even in Chase for the small period.
Yeah, that's one thing that I like about you guys, because I stopped having skates when I was a teenager, but I was a guitar player, right? And I toured around the world playing guitar. And so I have friends that we spent like a month together, but they're like best friends,
Yeah.
even though it's 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. They could be the most, like, you could have never known who they were, and then all of a sudden it could be 10 minutes of knowing them and they're your best friend, And it's amazing. My girlfriend's from Dawson Creek, so I go up there all the time, and when I'm up there, I hang out with those guys as much as I can.
Cool. What about the Prince George Cougars? Were you a fan growing up? Was that the team that you watched a lot?
Yeah. Back in the day when it was only $4 or $5 to get into a game, it was Yeah, it was a regular. I'd go watch them on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Me and my buddies would always meet up at the Cougars games, and that'd be our big event for the week.
Who were some of the players that you looked up to in that era?
I remember really young, there was like Brett Connolly was a great player. Even oh, I'm blanking on his name right now, but Dan Gibb, he was the captain when we were young, and he was he was just a solid defenseman that it was exciting to watch. Even
Right on.
even really young, Devin Setaguchi did a short stint in Prince George, and
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
I was young for that one, but I do remember my dad taking me to those games.
His Connolly, was he from the Lightning? Or
Yeah, yeah.
okay, got a picture of that. Those are. I was just talking to Riley Braun about those. Was our favorite hockey players from when we were 10 years old or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And mine were like the Brandon Wheat Kings or the Estevan Bruins, in Saskatchewan where I grew up. There's a guy on I think there's a guy on Okanagan from Weyburn,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. So he's an instant hero of the league. Instantly.
Yeah. Yeah. Instant. Good Saskatchewan
Funny,
kid.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. What are some of the goals that you're looking for the remaining games of the season? For
Um,
you personally, or the team, and some of your
uh,
goals.
for me personally, I think a big thing is we want to kind of, well, personally, I want to shut the door a little bit more, keep the goals out of my net. My goals against average is a little higher than I would like it to be, so I think that's something that I want to keep working on, and I am working on at practice each and every day. But as a team, I think it's just it's so easy to give up and roll over when your team isn't exactly putting up results, and none of the guys seem to want to do that. It's we're all fighting an uphill battle here, and we're all working towards the big goal of winning a couple hockey games and hopefully doing some damage in the league.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh, what is something as a goalie that you need to work on that's different from a skater? Or like what are the qualities of your game that skaters do not understand?
I think a big thing is mentally. Like they say, a lot of the games happen within 6 inches, and it's these 6 inches here. So I think just mentally keeping focused, staying in the game, focusing on the right things at the right time rather than maybe overthinking and overdoing something, just keeping calm and keeping my patience and letting the game come to me a little.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who's who's one of the funnier players on the team that can help keep things fun for the Miners?
Two guys that we always love to laugh with are the Russians that we got on our team. Oleg Grishatov, he's just a gentle giant that he loves to have a good laugh, and Slava Pinin, he's a constant joke machine too. Yeah, and we even got Jaden Groomer.
Yeah.
Jaden Groomer. He's sometimes he's the butt of the joke, but he loves it.
Which player is Pinnin? Was he at the showcase?
Yes, he was. I
Okay.
think he was wearing number 6. He was.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I
he's the
kept
short.
calling him Malofsky, but that's not right.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah, but yeah, no, he's also dealing with a little bit of a shoulder injury that I think he might have sat out for one of those games in Victoria, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, he's been pretty big. He brings compete every night.
Yeah. Number 6. He's like maybe 5'8" or 5'6". He's not a tall guy, right?
No.
Yeah, yeah. He stood out to me for the Miners big time, along the boards and scrapping.
Yeah, he's a nail gun. He loves the dirty areas of the ice.
Oh, cool. Well, shout out to what's the player again? Tell everybody.
Slava Pinin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had this whole thing on the show here about the showcase, and I gave a big award out to Molosky. That's the wrong guy.
Oh yeah. No,
All right, so Pinnin.
Slava's the guy.
Oh, you Diet Pepsi for that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, so after as you're going along with your business courses, and with the minors, what do you see down the road for you, your ambition for hockey and in your life?
Really, I don't really have a end goal for hockey. I mean, I'm pretty lucky that I'm playing it right now at the level I am. So I'm just taking it day by day, letting whatever happens in the future will happen. But I would love to keep playing hockey after this. It's just where and when it's not really up to me.
Nice, a good philosophical answer from the goaltender.
Yeah, yeah. Give you an insight on how weird I am.
That's great. Well, what kind of what are a couple things that you're into that aren't hockey, like other hobbies or interests?
Yeah, I mean, the easy one is I play video games. It's a great way to keep in contact from the guys that I grew up with and stuff like that. We talk all the time on the games, and a little bit, I guess, an odd one is I like to collect sports memorabilia, cards, that type of deal. So that's what
Cool.
yeah, I kind of like doing that on the side. Just keep
What
me busy.
what are a couple of your favorite pieces you have?
I got a really cool Connor McDavid, just a signed hockey card from a couple Christmases ago. My mom just got me a random pack of hockey cards, and turns out there was a signed McDavid in there. So I've kept that one pretty close.
Whoa,
Yeah, yeah.
that's amazing, right?
Oh yeah, no, it was an awesome Christmas, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like sport. I like memorabilia too. Uh, I got. I grew up in Carlisle, Saskatchewan, and we got a. I think the most famous player from there is Brendan Morrow. He was pretty.
Yeah.
He was for the Dallas Stars and was in the Olympics and stuff. And I got one of his jerseys. But I got so many cards. It's all from when I was 8 years old. It was like 1993.
Yeah.
So it's all like Paul Correa, Teemu Solani, Eric Lindros, that zone.
Yeah.
It's like I got like 1,000 cards of the same guys.
Well, those are the good ones. Those are some pretty good players. You might want to keep.
Yeah,
Might be
exactly.
sitting on a small lottery.
Yeah. Well, Matthew Enns, thank you very much for coming on the show here. We wish you and the Miners best of luck, and we'll be seeing you in Victoria here, I think, for one more game, if not two.
Yeah.
But from a Vikes perspective, they're going to play against you guys and SFU, and then I know you guys have some battles ahead too. Thanks very much for coming on the show, and I'll leave the last word to you. You want to give a shout out to anybody, or last word to you?
Shout out to my parents, I guess. Shout out to my family, my girlfriend, my teammates. Thanks for all the support, and I really appreciate you having me on here. And yeah, it was awesome talking to you.
Yeah, nice to get to know you, Matthew. How about that, Logan Lake Miners? Keep on going, guys. We'll see you around the rink. And peace out for now. Sound good?
Sounds good. See you later.
Later.
And ladies and gentlemen, how did you enjoy the interviews? I know we loved it. We loved them. It was great. Lots of content, lots of good stuff coming from it. But now the moment you've all been waiting for, which is the Forsaken pack opening. So what do you want to do? Do you want to save?
I love it.
Do you want to save? He's got 5 total here, guys. Okay, so we could do 5 boom, boom, boom right now, or we could do 1 now. Maybe save that for an end of the episode segment of the following one. So what do you think? Should we crack them all open tonight, or should we do 1 and then kind of?
Let's do 1 or 2. See
all
how
right.
it goes. I like your idea. I like your thinking.
Yes. Right.
You know, got a couple cards here. This is a shout out to Matthew Enns, a big collector. As you know, he's got that amazing pull of a hockey card he had that one Christmas that he shares in the card there.
Ooh.
Now, Reese, I'm going to open the. How many are in here? This is
Good
a
question.
Sidney Crosby is on the front there. You may have heard of him. He's on Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Okay, so how many cards? I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Are you ready for some?
I'm ready.
Opening some cards.
I'm ready. Got to get my thinking cap on.
All right, how hard is this
For
going
this
to be?
one.
Pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be, right? If we get like a fourth line guy, it's going to be a little bit of an insult for me to be like, hey, it's this type of player. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'll find a positive of that guy's game and, allude it
Oh,
to
for sure.
one of the BCIHL
Okay,
guys.
first up,
Who we got?
Patrick Kane.
I mean, come
Okay.
on. What a start. Look at that. Okay, well, right off the bat, he wears number 88 in the BCIHL, and it's
Riley.
Riley Braun. And you know what? They are similar because he's got a great shot. He's the only difference is he's Riley Braun is right-handed. Kaner is obviously left-handed. I think they play on
First
opposing
name.
wings, right?
Yeah.
Man, quick
Reese,
shot.
let me ask you this.
Okay.
Which team is Kane going to play for
Ooh.
in a couple months here?
I think it will be the Buffalo Sabres. They got the cap
Woo!
space. Yep, they've got the cap space, and he grew up a Buffalo fan, so I think that just makes sense. If he were to go anywhere else, I think it would be New York, but I wouldn't like that move for him. I think that wouldn't be the best move. You got a lot of you know what I mean, a lot of offensive firepower. But then when you think about it, they're obviously not getting the production they want out of Hedel, Lafreniere, and Capo Kakkonen. No, Capo Caco. Sorry,
Yep.
Capo Caco. But
Both
they're
are
playing a
great,
lot well. Like for the
apparently.
last couple of weeks, they've been actually
Yep.
producing really well that youth line. So I don't know. Again, do you really need
That's the
that?
Rangers you're talking about?
Yeah.
10-4, got it.
Right.
What are
so
the chances Patrick Kane ends up on the Okanagan Lakers?
it's
Not
possible.
good, probably.
It's
Probably not good.
If he
but-
wants to, he might be a little bit of an overager. You know what I mean? So I'm
Well,
not
the
sure
Lakers,
about-
they're looking to get back to their winning ways.
yes.
They got some. They're going to play. You know how the Vikes have finished up against the Mariners? I
Yep.
think the Lakers have to play them a few times. Okay, I interrupted you. You ready for another one?
Yes.
This one I think is going to be a good one for you, Reese. I just got a
Okay.
feeling about it.
Wow. Who's it going to be? Is that
Carter Hart.
All right. Carter Hart. I mean, that one, I'd say just honestly, I'm going to go a little bit of a different way with this. I'd probably give it to Derek Kroll. And the reason why is because, not that there was expectations on Derek Kroll, but when it comes to Carter Hart, the expectations were through the roof. They expected him to almost predecess Price. Like they expected him to come into the league and just start flying. But he's had a lot more responsibility than he should have type thing. I mean, with that defensive core that the Flyers have, the problem is a lot of the bigger guys have been, well, the biggest guy, obviously Ennis, him being, oh my God, wait, is that his name? I hope that's his name. I can't remember.
You talking
Ryan
about
Ellis.
the Flyers
Ellis.
defense? Ellis.
Ryan Ellis. Yeah. So he's injured.
Yeah.
They need him back. He's a huge player. I mean, any team would love to have a guy like that on. So that's another reason why his responsibility has been a lot more. And I think that's kind of similar to Derek Kroll. He's had a lot more responsibility than you'd expect when, going into the season, but he's been fine. He's been good enough. And that's what I think about Carter Hart too. He's been fine. He's been good enough.
Here's a question. What are the chances that Philadelphia has a new player next year from the West Coast, Connor Bedard? What do you think of that?
Ooh, possible, but not that possible. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the
Not that
Flyers,
possible?
and the reason why I say that is because the Flyers should be better. They're in the same scenario as Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver will progressively get worse, so their chances will go up to get Bedard. But Flyers, when you look at the breakdown of their team, they look decent on paper. There's not much of an excuse as to why they should finish even in contention for Connor Bedard. That's, you know what I mean? That would be very, very bad for the franchise. I mean, anybody getting Bedard would be great. So, I mean, that would be a win, but to have a bad season right now, I think would not be good for the franchise. And I don't think John Tortorella is a guy that Connor Bedard will want to have his NHL career started with. And nothing to take away from him. Maybe he will.
Right.
I mean, maybe it'll make him tough as nails, which is very possible because the thing, actually, you know what? I'm actually going to kind of change my take on that because Tortorella, he does like stars that can do their job, which is offense. Like they can do whatever they can do that makes them so talented, but you also need to work very hard in the intangibles of the game. So playing good in the neutral zone, checking, working hard, playing defense, blocking shots. That's all the stuff that Tortorella really values. So if Bedard, I don't see him out there blocking shots and playing hard defense, but he's a crazy athlete, and I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg for a guy like that, and he really could. And imagine if he could kind of have that Crosby level toughness to play against, like to match up against. And if Bedard can do that, I mean, nothing to take away from McDavid, but McDavid is not a two-way guy. He is not a guy who's super duper hard to play against in terms of when you're in his end. You know what I mean? That's not what he's known for. He's known for that explosive offense. So if kind of to end that a little bit, yeah, if Bedard can find his way in Philly, it might not be the worst thing for him, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
All right. There, another Phillies thing. The Eagles about to go for the Super Bowl too. So Philadelphia is all over the place. A lot of good punk bands from Philly too.
Yes.
Some of my favorites.
Yeah.
They got a good scene there with the Menzingers. I like this band, Gladdy.
Ooh.
It's kind of a pop punk, but they got Philly just has some good music.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. They got great rappers, great music. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay. The final card from this pack.
All right.
Here's this guy here.
Wow.
Finland.
Yeah,
Teuvo Teravainen.
Yeah. Tuevo.
All right. Teuvo.
Teravainen. He's a great player. He's on
Let the
wing
rhythm
stretch.
take control. Teuvo. Teuvo.
Yeah.
Right?
He is the real deal. He is
Okay,
a
now he's
playmaker. He's a good offense guy, more of a playmaker, unbelievable passer, one of the better playmakers in the league, I'd say.
Lots of assists.
Yeah, he's a killer. He's unbelievable alongside Aho and actually Svechnikov. So he's the real deal. I'd say for a player that is similar to him, I know there's someone who would stick out so much better than this, but I'm thinking Dunlop just because now Dunlop has honestly more scoring potential than I'd say than Teravainen does, just based on like their leagues type thing. But the playmaking side of Dunlop's game is very similar to Teravainen. Sneaky passes, quick tape to tape movement coming off the rush. Like he can pass amazing while skating full speed. Just a very, very talented individual. And he's bigger. He's like 6'2", I think. I think it'll say on that card. I can't remember. He's a big kid. Might say it in centimeters or something though, which is annoying to, you know.
Yeah, 5'11".
Oh, 5. Okay. Well, he plays big. He plays big on those skates. So
Yep. Yeah, he plays big on the skates.
yeah. So and Dunlop's the same thing, but Dunlop is also a big guy. But with the he's a bigger body. You'd think you'd see like, you know, a smaller frame snapping passes around like that, but no, not with him. He's strong alongside the boards. He can just create stuff in pressure as well. So that's what kind of makes me think of Dunlop there.
Now, Reese, are you a believer in the Canes for a Stanley Cup run?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I am. I think the Bruins and the Canes is the semifinals for the East. That's my take. Yeah, I think Dallas. I think Dallas and Colorado are a little bit interchangeable. Yeah, I like how they look. And another team that could go far in the playoffs just based on how they play. Like you got to watch how some of these teams win and how they lose. When you watch lots of hockey, when you're paying attention to the highlights, you'll notice teams like Seattle, teams like Dallas, they've made such a flip from who they were last year because they check. Because they're all over the place. They're all over the boards. Everybody's working two-way. Matty Beniers is purely an offensive guy, but he's capable of playing two-way, and we've seen that. Nice. There's been a great example of that. And honestly, it's a little bit like the Vikes, too. There is a complete change in how the team is perceived, right? So last year, the team was one thing, and now this year, it's a completely different thing. And honestly, one of the things that help is I think the morale in the locker room for the Vikes is up, and knowing that, everybody's just going to work harder. You're just not going to want to get beat. You know, there is obviously the notion that when you're a player and you have a specific skill set, you show up to a team and you let them know right off the bat, that's your skill set. And coming outside of that is unlikely. But regardless of if you think you're purely an offense guy or purely a defense guy, when you love your team and when you want to win, you're going to do whatever it takes. So if you're Patty Kane, you're going to be
That's
blocking
what I
shots.
like to hear.
You're going to be everywhere. You're going to be trying to block shots. You're going to try to get physical because you just hate being beat.
I love to hear that. Well, it's the end of things there. Maybe the end of things in Chicago.
Yeah.
The beginning of things. Reese likes the Hurricanes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? That's good for today
You know what?
for looking at cards. What do you
Yes,
call it? Unwrapping, unpacking,
unpacking, pack opening. Yeah, so we'll leave that. We'll hold the rest of the packs for the next couple of episodes.
Sounds good. I like that segment, by the way.
Yes, very good.
Go off, Reese.
Yeah. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fantastic, very eventful episode of In the Corners.
Yes.
We had 2 interviews with 2 very electric players. Matthew Entz, who's on the up, and so is Riley Braun, both on the up, right? So those guys are progressing. They're gonna improve, and we love to see it. We're gonna be here for it. So
remember, Matthew Entz, this is the first year, so maybe a staple in the league. You never know what's going to happen with people's personal lives and where their journey will take them. But Matthew Entz could be a star for a while, and Riley Braun ready to lead the Vikes this year. Yes. Starting this weekend, Logan Lake and SFU. Let's do it.
Yep, let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This has been Reese Savoy and Matt Good with the UVic Hockey Broadcast Team. And, we will be back in a week to talk about the SFU VIU game, which is coming. And and obviously the other BCIHL happenings that go on. You got anything left to leave them with?
Let the rhythm take control, my Lamo.
And we'll leave you with that, buddy. Serenade. Keep it real, everyone. See ya.